Dawn broke on September 18, 2016, casting a long shadow over the Uri sector in Jammu and Kashmir. The first light of day revealed a serene landscape, but beneath this calm exterior, a storm was brewing. The Uri sector, known for its strategic importance and picturesque beauty, was about to become the epicenter of a tragedy that would shake the nation to its core. The serenity of the early hours was shattered by the staccato bursts of gunfire and the gut-wrenching explosions that followed. The Indian Army base, nestled in the quiet of the early morning, was suddenly under siege. The sounds of chaos and destruction echoed through the mountains as soldiers scrambled to respond to the unexpected assault. The air was thick with smoke and the acrid smell of burning, a stark contrast to the peaceful dawn that had just broken. Terrorists infiltrating from across the line of control had launched a cowardly attack on an Indian Army base. These militants, heavily armed and well prepared, had crossed the border under the cover of darkness, their intentions clear and deadly. They moved with precision, their targets carefully chosen, aiming to inflict maximum damage and chaos. The soldiers, caught off guard, fought valiantly to defend their post, but the element of surprise was on the side of the attackers. 19 brave soldiers never returned home that day. Their lives, dedicated to the service of their nation, were cut short in a brutal and senseless act of violence. The loss was not just of individuals, but of heroes who had stood on the front lines, protecting their country with unwavering courage and commitment. Their sacrifice was a stark reminder of the constant threat faced by those who guard our borders. India reeled, the nation mourned. From the bustling cities to the quiet villages, a wave of grief and anger swept across the country. Candlelight vigils were held, and people from all walks of life came together to honor the fallen soldiers. The sense of loss was palpable, and the collective sorrow of the nation was a testament to the deep respect and admiration for those who had given their lives in service. This was not just an attack on our soil, it was an assault on our very soul. The flag flew at half-mast, and the national symbols took on a new, somber significance. The attack had struck at the heart of the nation, leaving a wound that would take time to heal. It was a moment of reckoning, a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present threat of violence. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, his voice thick with emotion, addressed the nation. His words were a mix of sorrow and resolve, reflecting the mood of the country. He spoke of the bravery of the soldiers, the pain of their families, and the need for unity in the face of such a grave threat. His speech was a call to action, a reminder that the nation must stand together in times of crisis. Blood and water cannot flow together, he declared, his words echoing the nation's sentiment. The Prime Minister's statement was a powerful metaphor, capturing the essence of the conflict and the need for a decisive response. The crowd, listening intently, reacted with a mix of anger and determination. The message was clear. The nation would not be cowed by acts of terror, and those responsible would be held accountable. Retaliation, swift and decisive, was imminent. The Indian Army, known for its discipline and strength, was mobilizing for a response. Military vehicles roared to life, and soldiers prepared for action with a sense of purpose and resolve. In the command centers, officers planned the next steps, their faces set with determination. The message was clear: the attack would not go unanswered. The Indian Army was given a clear directive: avenge the fallen. Orders were issued, and the soldiers, fueled by the memory of their fallen comrades, prepared to carry out their mission. The nation watched, united in its support for the troops and resolute in its demand for justice. The events of that fateful day had left a deep scar, but they had also ignited a fire of determination and resilience that would guide the nation forward. Deep within the bowels of India's military apparatus, a plan began to take shape. It was a plan born out of necessity, forged in the fires of countless strategic discussions and intelligence briefings. The stakes were high, and the margin for error was non-existent. The mission was clear: to neutralize the threat that loomed large across the line of control. The wheels of retribution, greased by meticulous intelligence gathering and strategic planning, were set in motion. Intelligence analysts worked around the clock, sifting through mountains of data, piecing together the puzzle that would reveal the enemy's plans. Every intercepted communication, every satellite image, every piece of intel was scrutinized with a fine-tooth comb. The Director General of Military Operations huddled with his top brass, poring over satellite imagery and intelligence reports. The room was filled with a palpable tension, the kind that only comes when lives are on the line. They knew that the success of this mission depended on their ability to outthink and outmaneuver a cunning and ruthless adversary. The target terror launch pads and staging areas across the line of control, meticulously identified and verified. These were not just random locations, they were the nerve centers of the enemy's operations, the places where plans were hatched and attacks were launched. Identifying these targets was a painstaking process, requiring the highest level of precision and accuracy. This was not a conventional operation, it demanded surgical precision, the kind of precision that only the best of the best could deliver. The mission required not just physical prowess, but also mental acuity, the ability to think on one's feet and adapt to rapidly changing situations. It was a mission that would test the limits of human endurance and ingenuity. The Indian Army's elite Special Forces units, battle-hardened and trained for such high-risk missions, were tasked with carrying out the strike. These were soldiers who had faced the enemy in countless battles, who had honed their skills in the crucible of combat. They were the tip of the spear, the ones who would go where others feared to tread. Weapons were checked and rechecked. Ammunition was carefully calibrated. Every piece of equipment was inspected with meticulous care, ensuring that nothing was left to chance. The soldiers knew that their lives depended on the reliability of their gear, and they took no chances. Every detail, no matter how small, was scrutinized. From the timing of the operation to the routes they would take, everything was planned down to the last detail. The soldiers rehearsed their roles over and over until their actions became second nature. They knew that in the heat of battle there would be no time for hesitation. The ghosts were getting ready to dance. Under the cover of darkness, they moved with the stealth and precision of shadows, ready to strike with deadly force. They were the unseen warriors, the ones who operated in the shadows, leaving no trace of their presence. As they prepared to embark on their mission, they knew that the fate of many rested on their shoulders. The ghosts were ready, and the dance was about to begin. Under the cover of darkness, the strike teams began their movement towards the line of control. The night was their ally, cloaking their movements in shadows and silence. Each soldier knew the gravity of the mission ahead, the importance of every step they took. The air was thick with anticipation, the kind that makes your heart pound in your chest, yet keeps your mind razor-sharp. The terrain was treacherous, a mix of rocky outcrops and dense jungle paths that tested their endurance and resolve. Every soldier was acutely aware of the enemy's eyes, ever watchful, ever vigilant. The landscape itself seemed to conspire against them, with every rock and root a potential hazard. Yet they pressed on, driven by a sense of duty and an unyielding spirit. Every step was fraught with danger, every rustle of leaves a potential threat. The silence of the night was both a friend and a foe, masking their approach, but also amplifying every sound they made. The soldiers moved with a practiced caution, their senses heightened, their nerves taut. Each footfall was deliberate, each movement calculated to avoid detection. Stealth was paramount. The soldiers, their faces camouflaged, moved like phantoms through the night. Their training had prepared them for this, turning them into shadows that blended seamlessly with the darkness. They communicated in whispers and hand signals, their coordination a testament to their rigorous preparation. The night was their canvas, and they painted it with the strokes of their silent advance. The line of control loomed ahead, a physical manifestation of the tension that gripped the region. It was more than just a border, it was a symbol of the conflict, a line drawn in the sand that separated two worlds. The barbed wire and watchtowers stood as silent sentinels, a reminder of the ever-present danger. Crossing it would be a bold statement, a declaration of intent. Crossing it would be the point of no return. But there was no hesitation, no fear in the eyes of these warriors. They moved with a purpose, their resolve unshaken. Each soldier knew the risks, but they also knew the stakes. Their mission was clear, their objective unwavering. They were prepared to face whatever lay ahead, driven by a sense of duty that transcended fear. They were driven by a righteous fury, a burning desire to avenge their fallen comrades. The loss of their brothers in arms had ignited a fire within them, a fire that could only be quenched by justice. Their expressions were intense, their eyes filled with a determination that spoke volumes. This was personal, a mission that went beyond orders and objectives. It was about honor, about standing up for those who could no longer stand for themselves. This was a mission of honor, of duty, of vengeance. Each soldier carried with them the weight of their fallen comrades, the memories of those who had given their lives. They were not just fighting for themselves, but for a greater cause. Their preparation had been meticulous, their resolve unbreakable. As they moved forward, they did so with the knowledge that they were part of something larger, something that transcended the individual. This was their moment, their chance to make a difference, to turn the tide in a conflict that had claimed so many, and they were ready. The hours before dawn are the darkest. They're also the tensest. The strike teams, having successfully infiltrated enemy territory, lay in wait, their bodies taut with anticipation. Every muscle was a coiled spring, every sense on high alert. They could hear the enemy soldiers, oblivious to the danger lurking just meters away. Final checks were conducted, targets were confirmed, weapons were primed. The tension in the air was palpable, thick enough to cut with a knife. The soldiers knew the risks. They knew that many of them might not make it back, but they were ready. They were willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for their country. The first rays of dawn were just beginning to pierce the darkness when the signal came. The silence of the night was shattered by a deafening roar as the Indian army unleashed its fury. The surgical strikes had begun. Targets were engaged with pinpoint accuracy. Terror launch pads where militants slept, unaware of their impending doom, were obliterated. The element of surprise was total. The enemy, caught completely off guard, had no time to react. The Indian soldiers, their training and preparation evident in every move, moved with deadly efficiency. They fought with courage, with skill, and with a cold, hard fury that left no room for mercy.